I'm going to talk a little about the work I do, which includes both teaching mindfulness-based stress reduction and also teaching Christian contemplative practice. And the two are very related to each other. In teaching mindfulness-based stress reduction, which is a course which people take for human wellness and also to learn how to let go of stress in their lives and to be more present and aware. The first thing that we teach them is to live with the intention of at least doing no harm to self or others. And I encourage people to repeat that intention in the morning before they start their day, the intention of doing no harm to self or to other, and to be thoughtful about their actions during the day so that they are aware of the times when they are unkind to themselves or others. And it's also useful before going to bed at night to ask gently, was I kind to myself and others during the day? And when we find that we have not been kind to ourselves or to others, to be gentle with ourselves and to make a decision to go back to a person that we might have been unkind to and to say to them, I'm sorry that I was impatient with you yesterday. I don't want to live that way, and please excuse me. This kind of thoughtful living helps us to become more skillful and less reactive in life. And in the Christian tradition, it helps us to be more aware of the presence of God in others and our desire to respect the sacredness of every human being. A second practice has to do with kindness, and it involves being kind to ourselves, to our loved ones, to people we hardly know, and also to people who have been difficult in our lives. In doing this practice, we use a phrase, a short phrase, that reminds us to be a person of goodwill. For example, we might say, may I be happy and peaceful, strong and healthy. Some people have a difficult time doing that because they feel that it's selfish to send good wishes to themselves. But we feel that it is essential for people to do that because so many people are hard on themselves and very critical of themselves. So we encourage people to begin this practice, which has 4 stages, with the first stage doing the kindness practice for themselves and saying at intervals during the day, when you think of it, saying at intervals during the day, may I be happy, peaceful, strong, and healthy. This is particularly healing when we feel discouraged, when we feel alone, when we feel as though we've made a mistake and regret it. To be gentle with ourselves, not to pass judgment and say, for example, I'm such a loser. Instead, expressing wishes of concern for myself by saying, may I be happy and peaceful, strong and healthy. We also send these wishes to our loved ones, our family, our friends, to people who have been kind to us in various ways. It might be a former school teacher or a person who has been a wonderful role model for us in life. To say for these people, may they be happy, peaceful, strong, and healthy. And the third category is people we hardly know. This involves and includes all the people in the community in which we live, for example. May everyone in my community be happy, peaceful, strong, and healthy. And we can also make this more specific. If we're driving, we could say, may everyone at this intersection with me be happy, peaceful. This is a wonderful way of learning to be kind and concerned to people around us whom we hardly know and neither like nor dislike on a personal level. It's the exact opposite of being a terrorist, because we intend not to fill other people with terror, but to be kind and concerned toward other human beings. And the last category is people who have been difficult in our lives. To say, as we feel able, not forcing ourselves, may this difficult person be happy, peaceful, strong, and healthy. And if there is a person who has so traumatized us that we can't comfortably send these wishes, then go back to sending the wishes to yourself. For example, may I be happy and healthy and learn to deal with this deep hurt. The third practice has to do with eating. And while we call it an eating meditation, it also applies to other aspects of our life. For example, anything that we consume, like entertainment, for example, or alcoholic beverages. But we begin this eating meditation with a simple exercise of taking a few raisins and looking at the raisin and naming it so that we know what it is we are taking into our bodies. And then first eating with deep gratitude for the earth in which the grapevines grew, for the sun, the clouds, the rain that nourished the grapevines, the person who planted the grapevine, the people who harvested, the people who brought the crop to the factory to be processed and packaged, the people who transported it to market, the people in the supermarkets who arrange it on the shelves for our use, and the cashier who checks me out. Eating with deep gratitude for the raisin, for Mother Nature, and for all the people who are involved in bringing this nutrition to me. And then the next time we take a raisin, we put it into our mouths and chew it slowly and ask the question, is this raisin good for me? And if so, how much? So that we develop some discernment about which foods are good for us and how much of these foods is enough. If we practice this mindful eating with some regularity, we get a better handle on what we take into our bodies and regulating our intake so that we're not eating impulsively. And I hope you can see how this transfers to other areas of our lives. For example, I might enjoy having a nice glass of beer with my family and relish the fact that my nieces and nephews know so much about brewing beer and what makes a good beer. But I have to decide, is this beer good for me? And if so, how much? so that a good thing remains a good thing because I know how much of it my system can tolerate. This kind of eating with reverence and discernment is very important for human well-being, and it's also important spiritually, so that we eat as though we were participating in sacrament with deep gratitude, and also with discernment, so that the food we take into our body serves us well so that we can do God's work. Another practice that's very important is really the beginning of meditation. I call it the breather. And I try in my own life to stop occasionally during the day and get in touch with my breath and allow my breath to bring me into the present moment. And this kind of stopping and getting in touch with the breath is a way of letting go of all the activity in our heads and getting centered and grounded in the present moment, where we experience a place of wholeness and peace within. This is very nourishing for people, and it helps them to let go of anxiety and stress. It's a wonderful practice to use with children to help them stop and take a break when they're excited. It's also wonderful to use it before taking a test or participating in any kind of competition or presentation. So it can be used by children, it can be used by parents who are very fatigued with caring for children. It can also be used by people in the business world, in any profession, as a way of grounding themselves in the moment, to get strength and to back off from stress so that they respond more skillfully instead of reacting impulsively. And the last kind of practice that I'll talk about is one that I personally love. It's walking meditation. And it involves walking in a very meditative kind of way. And one way to do it is to bring attention to the breath in your body and to coordinate the breathing and the stepping. If you're walking very slowly, you can take one breath on the in-breath and one breath on the out-breath. This might be possible in a private place, like in your own kitchen, for example. But if you're walking for exercise at a good pace so that the exercise will be beneficial, you'll be walking faster and maybe taking 3 steps on the in-breath and 3 on the out-breath. And doing this over a period of time helps a person to be present to the breathing and the walking, and gives them the same kind of benefit that sitting meditation gives to them. Any kind of meditation, if it's done properly and gently without forcing, helps us to let go of stress. It nourishes our neurological system, and it also opens us to insight so that we access our inner intelligence more easily. So walking meditation is pleasant. If you're walking in a beautiful place with lots of nature, very nourishing on that level alone. But it also has deep benefits for human wellness and also for being reverent and in touch with the presence of God. So this is a little glimpse into what I teach in my mindfulness-based stress reduction work. If you would like to know more, you could contact me through the office at St. Thomas, and the number there is 824-9595, or you could reach me through email at fragaeth, Fragaeth, @gmail.com, and I would be happy to get back in touch with you to talk about where I give these classes and when. Thank you very much for listening.